Good evening, everybody. This is Brad, VK2NMZ for the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club Thursday evening net. Now, this net here is broadcast not only over the VK2 RAG 2-meter repeater, but it is also broadcast over the CCARCNSW Echolink conference server. We also now have added IRLP functionality as that we now have a bridge with that. And it is also broadcast over the club's social media Facebook page. So if you haven't gone through and checked this out, you can just search for Central Coast Amateur Radio Club on the Book of Faces and you will come through and see us. So my name's Brad, VK2NMZ, Vice President of the club. So this net that we do go through and run, we normally try and chase for 3 rounds. The first round is usually just check in, see how you're going and what's news. And moving on from there is when we go off and we usually try and pick some sort of topic of discussion. Now, I can go through and see that we have got a few Facebook people that have dropped in to say hello. I can see that we've got quite a few people on Echolink as well. So at the moment, I'm going to go through and put my focuses onto our local 2-meter repeater. So if you are listening to this net tonight, this evening on the local VK2 RAG 2-meter repeater and you'd like to come through and check in for this net, please go ahead now.
VK2 Mike Alpha Sierra. VK2HJW. VK2 FRTS, thank you, Red. VK2MG.
VK2AKB, good evening, Brad. Just checking in.
Alrighty, so we have VK2 MAS, that formerly used to be FMAS, or FMUS, sorry. Mate, Mark, hello there. VK2HJW, VK2FRTS, and also we have VK2MG, and also VK2AKB Karen, who has just dropped in to go through and say hello and goodbye there. So, were there any other check-ins from the 2-meter repeater?
VK2RAG, Summersby.
Nope. Okay, all's is quiet there. So let's go off and let's move over to Echolink. So I can see we have quite a few stations on Echolink at the moment. So we'll go for that. So if you are connected to the CCARCNSW conference server only at this point in time, and you did wish to go through and check into the net, please go ahead.
Victor Kilo 2 Juliet India.
Okay, VK2JI. Ed, mate, good evening and thank you for coming along this evening. It is much appreciated. Alrighty, so let's move on. Okay, if you are connected to either the Ham conference server or maybe the Do Drop In conference server, and you did wish to go through and check into this net, please go ahead now.
Victor Kilo 2 Delta Yankee, VK2 DUI.
And acknowledging Robert there, VK2DY. Were there any other stations via Echolink? If you did wish to go through and check in, please go ahead.
Kilo Delta 8, November Queen Mike, Bill.
And acknowledging Kilo Delta 8, November Quebec Mike, Bill. Good evening there and welcome along to this net. Welcome along to the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club. We are located in a town of basically the central coast of New South Wales, Australia, and we are located 1 hour either way between Sydney and Newcastle. So we have quite a number of people on here this evening, so it is fantastic to come through and have you along, and welcome aboard. And we will go through and come back to your team very shortly. So I'm going to make my way up to the very top of the list there, and go over to our 2-meter repeater. All right, so for 2-meter repeater, let's go. So we have VK2 MAS. This is VK2 NMZ. Mark there. Mate, good evening. How have you been? Long time no speak.
VK2 MZ, VK2 MAS. Yes, good evening, Brad. It's been a while. I've been busy with a few things and just haven't been able to get on at the time and stuff, and Zoom meetings and other things and hobbies and stuff. That's kind of stopped me. I've got a bit of a dicky knee at the moment, so I'm kind of not doing as much exercise this week. And so I thought, hello, yeah. So what that was, the COVID actually was like pretty much only just before I was on the scene. There was assessments. I weren't taking any more assessments and were advising the examiners not to conduct the physical test. So yeah, I was lucky to get in just in the nick of time. So that was going to be fine. Excellently. Haven't been doing much with radio because I've been busy with other stuff and things that I normally do on the Zoom now. So yeah, zooming away with that. But other than that, I've been fine. Yeah. But it's, haven't got to explore the 20-meter back since I recently explored.
VK2 MAS, VK2 NMZ, mate. We were only going through and getting little bits and pieces of that. It sounds like you were just having a few troubles going off and getting into our repeater, but definitely copied there that you've been going off, been busy with work and a whole heap of Zoom meetings. Myself, I've been using Microsoft Teams, and it's been quite a unique adventure, really. It's definitely an interesting one as far as online collaborations and everything goes now. And you've been having issues with your knee as well, which is definitely not good. And I heard something there about a 20-meter band, but I didn't capture. I didn't go through and capture all of that. So that's all is good, mate. It is great to see you come along for this evening and being able to go off and take the time to drop in and say hello. It's absolutely appreciated, mate. You are always welcome here. Okay, we'll go off and we'll continue on down the list. We've got Ray here, VK2HJW, VK2 NMZ. Mate, good afternoon. How's your week been travelling?
VK2 NMZ and the group VK2HJW. Great week this week. It was my birthday on Monday, so I had a good day. I actually had a good weekend last weekend. I had the kids come and visit with the grandkids, and we had a few drinks and something to eat on one night. Well, it was Friday night actually. So they cooked me a meal. That's always a bonus. That happens once a year. So I made the most of that, and most of the rest of the year I cook for them. But well, that's how it works. But oh yeah, really good time. Been playing around on the radio a little bit, but not as much as I wanted to. On Sunday, I put the antenna up on the roof. It was sitting on the balcony out the front of my bedroom. So now it's up on the roof, and it's not going any better. Actually, it's annoying because I thought I'll get into the 23-centimeter repeater better, but I can't even ping it. But before I could at least activate it. So I did have an issue with one of the coax connections came off the cable I've got. So I couldn't really figure out how to get it back on. I've got it sort of on, but it's not very stable. So if anyone's got some tips on how to connect these Type N connectors onto LMR 400 cable. I've looked on the internet, and none of them look like this connector. It's just two pieces, and there's the pin, the center pin's fixed, and it's got a little sleeve that moves up and down, but it doesn't come apart. So I don't know. I haven't figured out how to connect it very well, but it's going really good on this band anyway, Brad. But yeah, great week. VK2 MNZ, ANMZ in the group, VK2 HJW.
VK2HJW, VK2NMZ. Well, mate, I did go through and remember you saying that you were going off and you were buying yourself a new toy for your birthday, and it seems like you're going through and you're having quite a bit of success and quite a bit of fun with that. So that's fantastic, and that's a bit of a downer going off and hearing the news about the antenna woes. And the N-type plug that you have there, I'm trying to picture it because I know the N connectors that I have and that I have used, which are they're three pieces, they're three-piece crimp downs, which have the center pin separate. Then you've just got the main body and the sleeve, and they're relatively easy, and you can go off and get them crimped on within a matter of minutes. But your one sounds quite different. I do know you usually go through and have those crimp down ones, or you have the compression lock ones where you need like two 14, 15 millimeter spanners to go off and compress it down with the lock. So definitely, if you can go through and find out a part number or something like that, by all means. I know I have some ratchet crimpers here for those sorts of connectors, but I'm not too sure on your one because I'm trying to picture it in my head, but I can't quite do it. But that's a shame about 23 centimeters. I'm not at 23 centimeters yet. I am looking at 27 megahertz though, and I've been eyeing off some station masters, but I digress. That can be later, mate. Thank you again for so much for coming in. It's always appreciated. Let's move down there to Ryan, VK2 FRTS. This is VK2 NMZ, mate. How's your week been? What's news? And you're coming into the repeater quite cleanly.
Yes, VK2 NMZ, VK2 FRTS, yes. Coming in via RF today, something different. I usually come in by Echolink because I'm usually travelling on my home from work, but I've been housebound. I had a bit of a cough on Monday. Stayed in the city, had a bit of cough on Monday, so went straight home instead of going to work, and had a bit of a headache and body ache and the usual, and so didn't go away. So Tuesday went and got tested. So now I am awaiting my result. I don't think I do have it, but I work with many people and catch the train and that sort of stuff. So one of them essential workers. So it's better to be tested and know than just ignore it and infect other innocent people. But so that's what I've been doing. So still waiting for my results. Hopefully tomorrow. But a bit of a holiday, I guess. Maybe not. It's a bit boring at home. But I have been doing some work. So I think tomorrow I'm working from home. So that'll be something different. Anyway, back to you there, VK2 NMZ, VK2 FRTS.
VK2RAG, Summersby.
The VK2 FRTS, VK2 NMZ. Wow, mate, that's definitely in the wars yet, and I'm sure that was an amazing feeling having something shoved right up the back of your nasal cavity. Hopefully the results do go through and come back, and they all go through and turn out as everybody would go through and hope of being negative. So absolute best wishes there, and I do wish all the best. But I guess on the plus side is if you do have the capability of being able to work from home, then that's definitely a bit of a bonus there. And yeah, you're coming in via RFs, mate. You're completely clean. Very, very good, very clear signal. So happy days. Let's keep on moving along. We've got Alan, VK2MG, VK2NMZ. Mate, how have you been this week?
VK2NMZ, VK2MG, just turning his monitors down so he doesn't hear himself on second delay. My week's been, I'm pretty ragged, pretty stuffed. I had to comment that I look like crap at the moment. Yeah, so a lot of late nights, a lot of Zoom meetings. It is getting a lot needs done in a hurry, and unfortunately with what I'm doing, I'm the only one who can do it. So hopefully we'll get an early-ish night tonight. Bed before 11 will make me very happy. What have I been up to? I got out, finally got out to do another park on Sunday, so it's the last opportunity to use the AX prefix, so I got out and did that. At Colongra Swamp Nature Reserve. And it was actually a really nice day out there on Sunday, and I actually even needed the bug spray. I was still going to write up the blog. I ended up taking pictures of my phone because I arrived with a big camera, only to find that the big camera battery was flat. So I got all the pictures up and the maps and stuff. I just got to write the blog up. I ended up with about 55 unique contacts. I had a problem with my key out there. I've got to have a look at. I think the spring's going. It was staying down. Maybe I can get away with an adjustment that I've got to have a look at it. But yeah, it was kind of a concern to find myself trying to sync code and having continuing to beep. Okay, that'll do me for this round. Brad, VK2NMZ, VK2MG.
The VK2MG, VK2NMZ. Alan, it sounds like you've had quite a bit of a good day, and you're absolutely right on that weekend there being able to use the AX prefix for the last time of the year. And a shame about the camera battery, but well, there's always next time. And well, if your key's failing and it is a spring, or hopefully I do hope that will come through and be and definitely be a good and easy fix for you. So I think that's one on my list of things to do is parks, and I've had a chat to you previously, and I've also had a chat to Ed as well, who's up in a moment about going out to the parks and squid poles and all that sort of good stuff. So I'm very, very close. Alrighty, mate. Thank you so much for dropping by and checking in. It's fantastic. So what we'll do is let's head over there to Echolink, and we'll go over there to Ed, VK2JI, VK2NMZ. Hello there, Ed. How have you been this week?
Yeah, VK2NMZ in the group, I get it right, VK2JI. Yeah, no, all fine this end. We're starting to get the lockdown loosened off, more and more things coming back available. And yeah, feeling a bit of aching bones myself, but it's not cold related. I actually went out and did 2 SOTA activations on Tuesday, and I shouldn't really pack the kitchen sink into the rucksack, and then walk up a very steep path to 2 different summits. Time to start and take things out of the rucksack, not put things in. Also a few technical problems there, but they got fixed, so that's the main thing. Hi to everybody. Hope everybody is well. Good luck to Ryan that the problem is not the thing that we all fear. You know, there's a good chance it's just a normal cold. I hope that is what happened. And to Alan, well done on the park activation. As I just said, I've been out and done a couple of SOTA activations, which aren't a great deal different with these particular summits. They're like parks on top of small hills, but all good fun. I'm not going to come back for the next round. Going to be heading off to get something to eat. Oh, by the way, here today is a public holiday, so things are quite quiet. It's actually what's called Christi Himmelfahrt in Germany, but it doubles as Father's Day, so everybody be out getting the barbies going this afternoon. Back to you, Brad. Best wishes to everybody, and stay safe and stay well. From VK2JI.
VK2JI. VK2NMZ. Wow, Ed, you've had quite a busy time and going out onto the SOTA parks. They're very different, but very similar. So coming from Alan, my backpack and bag load out for Sunday was about 20 kilos. Wowee. So all good there, Ed. You go through and enjoy your day out there, and remember to maintain 150 megahertz apart from each other, and I think everything will be happy. All good there. Okay, let's head down. Well, let's wander on down to the ham conference server. We got Robert VK2DY, VK2NMZ. Hello there, mate. How have you been this week?
Yes, VK2NMZ and VK2DY, Robert in northwestern Sydney. Well, surviving the cold, wet weather we've got all of a sudden. Yesterday was a fooler. I thought we were going to have nice warm weather for a while, and it's wet. It rained a lot here. I don't know how much it did. That's one of the things I need to do is buy a weather station and set it up. I'm always curious how much rain we get, and I never know because I don't have a weather station. So I think that's probably going to be on my to-do list. Other than that, not much else. Just playing on DMR, D-Star, all of those things, Echolink, the usual sort of nets I've been playing on. And, yeah, not much else. Retired, so the restrictions going off don't really change much for me. I'm home most of the time anyway, so it really doesn't change much. Although I do have now a desire to go see the ski fields, which I didn't have before. And it looks like the ski fields will be open. There's a lot of tourism after the first, so I may go do that. But at any rate, thank you very much for taking my check-in. VK2DY, back to net.
VK2DY, VK2NMZ. Well, mate, you've definitely had quite a busy day. It's everything's going off and everything's happening. Very busy person, mate. That's fantastic and all sorts of good. And actually, you mentioned before of you've been going through and playing with all the digital modes. There was an application which I'll just quickly hijack this for a moment. There was an application which I was made recently aware of that is available on both PC and Android phones, and it may even be in the Apple stores as well. Something for you to check out. It's very similar to the Blue DV, where you would need the Ambi 3000 USB chip or USB vocoder decoder. It's a piece of software called DroidStar, free in the App Store. It's open source, it is completely free, and that actually allows you to be able to use your registered license call sign. Is you can actually go on and monitor DMR and P25 and Yaesu Fusion along with NXDN and basically any other digital voice mode. It gives you the capability of being able to go through and listen to that. So if you do have a smartphone and you are licensed, definitely I'd recommend going off and giving that a little bit of a sneaky checkout. So thank you very much for that, Robert. So let's jump over there to, we've got Bill, Kilo Delta 8, November, Quebec, Mike. And this is VK2 NMZ for the CCARC 2 meter net. Over to you, mate.
Well, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity this morning. Although I've been listening to stories from you all, this is
88NQM, and I've been listening to stories of ending of the day. Well, over here in Ohio and the USA, we are just beginning the day. Current temperature here is 54 degrees, and we're looking for a high of 64 with a lot of showers today. Springtime in Ohio, as I like to call it. I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to join. I enjoyed listening to you all this morning, and I would like to ask you to please repeat the name of your Facebook group nice and slow so that I can get it caught down. I would like to join up with you all. And unfortunately, it's going to have to be my last round because it's time to get ready to head off to work. I have been lucky during this lockdown to maintain my job and not have had any furloughs or anything like that. So once again, this morning, I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity. Everyone have a great day, 73. And VK2NMZ, this is 88NQN. Thank you.
Oh wow, Bill, mate, thank you very much. And 54 degrees, and going up to set up to 64. That's not too bad. And yeah, being in Ohio right now, so you're coming through absolutely perfect, as you would expect with digital modes. So mate, they're fantastic. Yeah, so we have both a group and a page on Facebook. So if you search just for Central Coast Amateur Radio Club, you will come through and you will find the page where you will also be able to go through and you can see this net being live streamed as well. So you'll get to go off and see my ugly mug, and then eventually when this net finishes and you fast forward to it, you'll be able to hear our interaction. So you can go off and show your friends and say I spoke to somebody in Australia and they were not riding a kangaroo at that time. And along with that page as well, there is also the Facebook group as well. So absolutely go through, jump in there, click on join. Fantastic. So it's amazing to come through and see you in. And by all means, you're absolutely more than welcome to go through and drop in at any time. What we're talking off at the moment is our 2-meter repeater, which comes in and has Echolink functionalities and also IRLP. You can just search for VK2RAG. But to save you time, all of our information for Echolink and IRLP is on our website, which is ccarc.org.au. If you miss out the .au, you'll be taken to a Canadian amateur radio club, I believe it was. So fantastic, Bill. Thank you very much. I did want to go through and basically say thank you. Okay, moving along is I did just want to go through and make a very, very, very quick shout out to some of the people that are currently watching us on social media as well. So this is for the folks that are sitting on Echolink and also via the 2-meter net. I'd like to say good evening to Jay, who's watching, Ryan, who's watching and has also come in and checked in on our net. Our resident listener Al. So good evening there, Al. It's nice to come through and have you along. We've also got Nathan, who's VK2NAB. So VK2, he's in Sydney, so Nathan, thank you very much for coming along. It's always fantastic to have other folks come in here. And we've got Ray, VK2AX, who is watching. G'day there, Ray. Thank you for dropping by. And that's, at the moment, the comments will just need to be refreshed. But I think that's all I can see at the moment. So we are at the bottom of the list. So I think what we may go through and do is we'll go up and make our way up to the very top, and we'll just go through and see whether. Oh no, hang on. I can just see we've got one.
VK2 AOR listening.
VK2 AOR, VK2 NMZ. Good evening there, Bob. I hope you're doing quite well. Hey, just a very quick question is, during this net tonight, if you did have the capability, any chance you can do a bit of a swing around of your Yagi to see if you can hear anything direct? As yeah, there's things going on. So, mate, Bob, welcome along. I've just gone through and I've jotted you down, and I was just about to go through and make a double quick check out on. Oh, we've been time muted from the do drop in server. Oh well. Okay, I'll just go through and I can see that we have a check-in, a late Echolink check-in. So I'm going to go through and just call you in quickly. We got Bill VK2 FNEL VK2 NMZ. Mate, you're up.
VK2 NRC.
VK2 NMZ late. I was at the there when you first started coming in on Echolink. Doesn't matter. I'll get you a new set of glasses. You can borrow mine. Yeah, talking about how things are going, like where I am from now up to the border on the southeast coast. With all the lockdowns, it's been killing a lot of businesses off down here. It's been a lot of towns have been lost. Ghost towns down here. Shops are mostly closed during the day. We live on holiday markets coming down, especially from Canberra, coming up from Victoria and some from Sydney. We've copped it pretty hard, the south coast, from the bushfires, the floods. You know, there. It's great that they've opened up and made it easy for people to get around now. So some of the businesses are starting to reopen. My favourite pastry shop. Oh, they make the best pies. But I'm hoping they get rid of this virus soon. I don't think Australia should really handle it up until September or early into next year. Let's hope they find something to get rid of it. Back to you, VK2 NEL, FNEL, VK2 NMZ.
Okay, VK2 FNEL VK2 NMZ. I'm just going to go through and pause for a moment, just to allow VK3HJQ to unmute things.
VK2 NRC.
Sorry, Brad, what was that? CCARCNSW.
Acknowledging Bob there, VK2 NRC and also VK2 AOR. I was just placing a pause to allow you to go in and unmute, but I can see that you have already done that. Thank you very much. Did you want to go through it just before I head off while I'm still in Echolink land? Were you just sitting on the side quietly, or did you want to go through and drop in and say hello?
Hello, Bradley. You know, you don't need to leave a gap. It'll unmute it with the conference control software, whether someone's transmitting or not. Someone had the key down on do drop in, and Robert over there said that they were all clear, so I reconnected them back up after I went over there and checked that they were not still transmitting. Anyway, all good. I was going to say it's 8:35 p.m, but it's the same time where you guys are. Don't have to go through all that. A bit cold down here. It was only about 8 or 10 degrees today down south here. And I think winter's on its way, Brad. Anyway, thanks for taking me check-in, and thanks for running the net as usual. VK2 NMZ from VK3HJQ.
VK3HJQ, VK2 NMZ. So John, thank you very much for coming through and dropping in. And in the conference control software, I'll need to go through and I'll have a chat with you offline about that, because yeah, I'm using a completely different interface. So all is good. Okay, well we had a couple of check-ins drop in via the local 2-meter repeater, so I'm going to go through and flick this straight around to Bob, VK2 AOR. And VK2NMZ, mate, good evening and thank you very much for dropping by. How's your day been?
VK2NMZ, VK2AOR. Yeah, our morning T-net ran quite well this morning. About 12 people on, and then we started getting alarm messages from the repeater site. So I went up there to sort that out. I think anyway, we'll worry about that later. I've overcome the problem for the moment, so we'll sort that out later. Apart from that, I got home just in time to go for a hearing aid set up. The latest hearing aid that I had broke down just before the lockdown came in, and I actually got it back, but they hadn't programmed it up to my hearing profile, so that's the one on the right hand side, which is a more conventional one, which allows me to answer the phone in my hearing aid. So instead of it looks a bit funny sometimes, I'm wandering around talking to the phone and nobody can hear it, so it's a bit of a bonus actually. But anyway, that's all good, and all seems to be working fine now. And then I got home and Bob PP dropped around with a little problem board in his, I think a 107 radio, and soldered joints had broken loose, and I just heard my little beep reminding me that I'm running a bit over time. But other than that, been working satellites the last couple of nights, and things are going well there, Brad. VK2NMZ, VK2AOR.
VK2RAG, Summersby.
VK2NMZ, VK2AOR. Oh yeah, that's those alarms there. They're quite interesting. It's who knows what that is. I think it's just something a little bit sensitive there, but as usual, it's mostly a false alarm. And copy on the going through and getting home and getting the hearing aids set up, and at least now you have a working profile. So at least now you'll be able to do that hearing thing. So that's absolutely great. And copy on fixing up some dry joints in PEP's 107 radio. Absolutely fantastic. At least you'll be able to go through and get on the air and start using that as well. And being working satellites for the last few nights. So I do miss that, is I have my IO antenna sitting in the garage, so I really need to go off and pull that out and actually start having a bit of a play with it. Maybe next week. Alrighties, let's head on there. I'm sorry, I can see there's been a few people around. I'll go to Bob, VK2NRC, and then I'll just see if there's any other check-ins. VK2NRC, VK2NMZ, welcome aboard.
VK2 MNZ in the group VK2 NRC. Good evening all. Hope you're all well and staying warm. It's quite cool down here tonight.
VK2 NRC, and then I'll just see if
this storm came over, and I reckon it dropped about 5 degrees in about probably a minute, and it was cold. But, haven't been doing a great deal radio-wise this week. I've been on satellites a couple of times, but just had a lot of other things to get done that unfortunately have to be done, rather than go out and enjoy playing radio. But anyway, hopefully tomorrow's a little bit more clearer. And anyway, I'll put it back to you VK2 MNZ, VK2 NRC.
VK2 NMs, VK2 NRC, VK2 NMZ. So, wow, Bob, definitely had quite some busy times there. It's definitely a busy day that you've gone through and had, and hopefully tomorrow definitely does go through and turn out a little bit nicer for you. So what I'll do is we've now reached the bottom of the list, but now you're back up the top of the list because I messed it up. But so I'll go through and I'll just call in for the. Do we have any other check-ins at all? Whether this be via the local 2-meter repeater or via Echolink. If there was anybody that did wish to go through and check in for this evening's net, please go ahead.
VK2XR.
Okie dokie. So there's looks like so VK2XOR, VK2 NMZ. And Max, mate, good evening there, and welcome along. Thank you for coming and dropping by tonight. I'll pass it over there to you because I didn't hear anyone else drop in via Echolink. I can see Karen VK2AKB who's sneakily watching this via the CCARCNSW conference server. So hello there, Karen, and I hope your evening is swell. So over there to you, Max, VK2XOR, VK2NMZ. How are you?
Yeah, good evening all. VK2NMZ in the group, VK2XOR. Hope everyone's been well. It's been a while since I've been checking into these regularly. Probably been missing out on a few radio things lately. Yeah, just working a lot. A fair too much, probably. Oh, by the way, Brad, I did hear one other check-in after me. I think right over top of you. Might have been coming from Echolink, an NCU or something. Radio-wise, I've just sent a radio back for warranty repair, and in the meantime, gotten a sanity check on my other radio, which I was very, very happy about, thanks to Brad, because I was going a bit insane on that one. Next thing up for me, kind of, is setting up a more permanent HF antenna in the backyard. I've got a great place to do it. I just kind of need to work out sizing and things. Thinking probably a G5 RV or something across from the two corners of the backyard. If anyone has experience with those sort of things, be happy to get into contact. VK2NMZ in the group from VK2XOR.
VK2XOR, VK2NMZ. Okay, and copy on that end. Yeah, you're definitely right for that sanity check. And I know that Ryan, who's listening and has checked in tonight as well, also comes through and does have the same radio. So when it would be amazing when Ryan is cleared. I have come through and given him a mission to go through and see if he can replicate the same thing. It would be all sorts of good. So now, as I've had a couple of comments sent through to me, is there was somebody from Echolink who did go through and drop by, but unfortunately I walked all over the top of you. So there was an Echolink station that did try to check in. If you wanted to come back again, please, that would be absolutely amazing. This is VK2 NMZ.
No worry. Good evening. KA0YCU over on Dewdrop Inn.
Kilo Alpha Zero Yankee Charlie uniform, VK2 NMZ. Good evening there. It's fantastic to come through and have you along, and welcome along to the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club. This is a 2-meter. This is the club's weekly 2-meter net that's come through and he's held over on the VK2 RAG 2-meter repeater, and also via Echolink and now IRLP. And but wait, there's more. And is also streamed live via the club's Facebook page as well. So so if there was something that was part of this discussion that you did go through and miss, is you can go off and go back and have a look at it. So Robert, I wanted to say thank you for coming by this evening. Did you go through? Well, Flick? I will come in and I will pass it back to you. Did you have anything that you'd like to go through and add this evening? VK. So I'll try that again. KA0YCU VK2NMZ.
Nothing much to add, sir. I'm just now waking up. I'm getting ready to start my day over here in the States. Over.
We're just starting your day. Fantastic, fantastic. We're just going through and our day is coming through and winding up. So I absolutely love it that you've been able that you went through, woke up and dropped into your conference server, which has made its way over to ours. So absolutely beautiful. Did we have any other check-ins at all, whether that be via the 2-meter repeater or via Echolink before I go right back up to the top of the list again? Any takers? This is VK2NMZ for the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club Thursday evening net.
VK2NMZ, KK4ZVE, just waking up as well over here in the United States and just dropped in to see what you guys are doing this morning.
This is VK2NMZ, and I just realised I had the live feed muted. So Mark, over to you for the second round. Okay, so it looks like Mark has gone through and left this evening, but it was great to go through and see Mark go off and drop in. We haven't heard from him for quite some time then. Okay, let's head over there to Ray. So it's been quite a long over. Ray, VK2HJW, VK2NMZ, you're up.
VK2NMZ in the group VK2HJW. Thanks. I just about almost died of old age waiting for my next turn to come round. But that's good that we've got a good big group on tonight. It's always nice and it's nice relaxing net. I enjoy it very much, just sitting here hearing how everyone is. Well, I hope you're fine there, Ryan, when you get your test results back. Best wishes with you, mate. Take care and anyway, and stay well. And good to hear you in there, Bob. We'll have a chat later on, no doubt. It was good to talk to you again last night on AO92. And Brad, you were talking about the satellites, and you can get your IO antenna out. Ollie, have you got a vertical for at all, dual band vertical for 2 meters 70 centimeters? And you probably get away with just a 2 meter one. I did that originally, but I'm using a vertical and I'm having quite a lot of luck. I'm hearing loads of satellites, and that is my project for the weekend. If I get the time, is I'm going to crack working the SSB linear satellites. I can hear them, I can hear myself on them, but I just haven't been able to figure out how to keep the frequency on it and hold a conversation with someone. So it's a lot of fun though. I can't wait to work that one out. And Bob's been helping me a lot on the satellite, so thank you very much there, Bob. And the other thing I was talking about the plug before. Look, it's doing my head in because I've looked on the internet at loads and loads of videos of how to do these plug connections, and none of them look like this one. It basically comes in two parts. It looks like one of the I think it's some sort of compression one, but when you bring it off, you take the nut off the end where the coax goes in, and there's a little thing that looks like the end of a hose pipe connection that it moves in and out like about 5 millimeters. It doesn't come apart, and the center pin's fixed in there, so the coax goes straight into the center pin, no soldering, no clamping, no nothing, and then somehow you've got to get the braid to bite into that bit that goes backwards and forwards, and I haven't figured out how to do it, but I'll get there, and I'll probably end up buying a different type of plug online that I've seen how to connect. I think that might be the easiest one. And the other thing, radio-wise, having the new radio and putting the antenna up on the roof, it's going amazingly well for 2 meters, and I'm finding repeaters I didn't even know existed. So I look on the waterfall and I can see activity quite often, so I'll just go in there, see what's happening, and work out that it's a repeater. So the new vertical antenna has made a massive difference to the dipole I made, which it worked, but I could work here. This is the only repeater I worked on that antenna, so now I've worked a few others. So this is the best one though. This is my favourite repeater. Nothing else to add, but good to hear everyone tonight, and it's a good group. VK2 NMZ in the group, VK2 HJW.
VK2 HJW, VK2 NMZ. Okay, I've just been reminded we need to say our piece and shut up earlier. The timeout time is 160 seconds, not 180 seconds, so I'll need to be very mindful of that. Ray, if you could possibly send a message or even just send me an email just with the picture of that connector, because I'm still not picturing it in my head, so it's leaving me slightly confused. So so all good, and coffee on being able to go off and see the waterfall to see the activity. So that's the and seeing all and seeing going off, checking out all the different repeaters. And yes, I do have a vertical antenna here, and I may go through and give it a crack. I know at times JVK2FOMG has been jealous at a few times when I'm driving down the freeway to work and I'm working a satellite while I'm hurtling down the freeway. It's quite funny, and I don't think he's been able to get that quite yet. So all is good there. Ray, thank you very much for dropping in. So let's head over there to Ryan. VK2 FRTS, VK2 NMZ.
VK2 NMZ, VK2 FRTS. Yes, thank you everyone for the well wishes. Like I said, I don't think I have it, but you can never be too sure. So, yeah, just have to wait it out. I believe there was a question there for me before. I sort of missed it. I was in the men's room. So I'll put it back to you there, Brad. Was there a question for me? I think I heard my name out there, VK2. NMZ, VK2 FRTS.
VK2 FRTS, VK2 NMZ. Well, there was there, Ryan, and it was just when you are allowed out in public. and your confirmed negative is for you to go for a bit of a wander somewhere within the vicinity of your QTH with your radio to go through and perform a sanity check for the potential barn door receiver on the handheld radio that you've gone through and got. But if you go through and check some of your previous messages, we've had a chat about it before. It's just what we're talking about, folks, is we have observed something of in a particular location there is a large amount of interference from a pager from a local medical facility, and it's just quite odd when when it screams out quite loudly on one radio, but you use a $30 Baofeng and it's silent. So it's definitely quite different. But that's all good there, Ryan. And yeah, everybody's come through and given you well wishes there. Happy days. I'll pass it back over to you, and before I move over there to Alan, VK2 FRTS, VK2 NMZ.
VK2NMZ, VK2FRTS. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so I will do that once I'm let out. So I haven't forgotten. It is on my list, and yeah, I'll let you know what's going on with that. Cool. Rightio. Yeah, I don't have much else to add, so I'll just go back on the side and listen. VK2NMZ, VK2FRTS.
To FRTS VK2 NMZ. All good there, Ryan, and thank you very much. I'll just go through and I will put a little asterisk next to your name just so I know that you're going through and you're just sitting on the side for the moment. So that's fantastic. Thank you for coming through and taking the time to drop in this evening. It's amazing. And I will also acknowledge there Colin VK5 Foxtrot Charlie Juliet Mike, who is coming by Echolink. We'll come up to you shortly, mate. Alan, VK2MG, VK2 for NMZ, up for the second round.
VK2NMZ, VK2MG, and the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club Weekly Net. As I said, not a lot from me. I'm a bit ragged. I will stick around. I did have a bit of a play with that key between overs. I've tightened the spring up a bit. Maybe it's just got a little bit loose over time. It seems to be behaving itself now, so I guess the smoke test, that's when I go out again with luck this weekend. I don't know. Yeah, I mentioned about a 20 kilo loadout. The backpack's got about 17 and a half in it, but that's also got two 12 amp hour gel cells in it, and I could probably only carry on one of those. That's a hell of a lot of weight in one of those. And of course I've got the bag with all the tent pegs, antenna stuff, pole, things like that, so it adds up to around 20-ish. The good thing is, where I generally go, I don't have to walk more than 300 metres with it. It's just to save me taking multiple trips back to the car over that sort of distance. So yeah, I may head out again on the weekend. I'm not sure. I guess see what the weather's like and see what I've got to do around the house. VK2NMZ, VK2MG.
VK2MG, VK2NMZ. Mate, yeah, very, very busy days, and I've just noticed we're only really coming into the second round, and we've already done this for quite an hour. We've been doing this for an hour, so that's well, we may only end up getting 2 rounds out of this. So we'll see. We'll go through. We'll keep on rolling and see how we go. Now, I acknowledged there we had Colin who came through and dropped in beforehand via Echolink. Where are you? VK5FCJM. But we also have another check-in just via the social media as well, which is Mike, VK5 Zulu Mike India as well. All right, so okay, so all right, so I'm just making my way through it. So we got up to Echolink now. So we've got so many people. These nets are getting quite big and quite out there. Okay, we got Ed. Ed had gone through and left for the evening. So let's head over there to Bill, VK2 FNEL, VK2 NMZ.
VK2RAG, Summersby.
Okie dokies, it looks like Bill has gone through and left this evening. And if I go off and refresh my logs, I can see that he went off and checked out again. All good there, Bill. Well, thank you for coming in, and we'll chat with you next time. Let's see, we got John, VK3HJQ. VK, whoop, no, I've missed that completely. Well, yeah, let's just wind this back a little bit. Colin, VK5FCJM, VK2NMZ. As you're coming in by the CCARCNSW conference server, as I'm calling you in. Welcome along, and thank you for coming in, and thank you for also checking out our Facebook page as well. Mate, I'm going to pass it over to you and put you on the spot.
VK2, NNZ, VK5SCJN. Yep, you sure did. I'm just outside having a smoke. I wasn't quite ready. Thanks for letting me in. I saw the post pop up on Facebook. I thought, I might have a listen, and I thought, well, I've just said Echolink up on the mobile again, so if that works. I've only had my licence back about a week today, I think. Been off her for about 4 years. Got it originally around 2010. So, gradually getting everything set up again. Hopefully I've got this mobile set up okay and you can hear me okay. It's just an ancient mobile, not used as a mobile, only got a few apps on it, and currently only using it via Wi-Fi from my real mobile. So, all a bit of a mission so far, but thanks a lot, VK2NMZ, VK5FCJM.
The VK5 FCJM VK2NMZ. Well, Colin, thank you very much. Thank you so much for taking the time to go off and drop in and copy that you've only had the license back for about a week after being off for 4 years. And I love that you came through. You saw our post pop up on social media, and then you've gone in and jumped straight over and checked into our net. So I love seeing the reach that we have with this and how far we're getting out, and it's definitely showing that some of the innovations that we're doing have 100% are having an impact. So thank you again for dropping by. And any radios of you mentioned before, sorry, that you're using a mobile with a mobile, and it only has a couple of apps on there. I can see you did chop in late. Depending on your phone, go through and check out DroidStar. It's an open source. So I'm not affiliated with it, but go through and check that app out, and you might find it quite enjoyable. Okie dokies. Let's head on down there we're up to the Ham conference server now. So let's go out to KA0YCU, VK2NMZ, if you are still around.
Thank you, sir. I'm still here, but nothing much to add but a thank you on the DroidStar. Somebody was working satellites earlier, and I was told on the Houston Hamnet, or AMSAT net, that there was a bird up there that was running PVT, the European Video Standard. I was curious if anybody knew about it and been working it. It's one you can use an SDR on, but outside that, it's just something I was curious about that I hadn't gotten around to yet. Thank you for my check-in, guys. I appreciate it. And I'll sit back here and wait until the disconnect goes.
So no, it's I myself, I'm not aware of that, but I'm sure some other people may know about that. Alrighty, so let's keep on moving on. We got Robert, VK2DY, VK2NMZ. Did you happen to know anything with regards to that particular mode on the satellites? And we're also up to the second round.
From VK2NMZ, this is VK2DY. No, I really don't know much about that mode on the satellites. I was just trying to figure out how to make this Droid Star work. It appears it lets you listen to D-Star and those, but it doesn't look like it transmits. So it's very interesting, though. I like to play with these programs, so I figure out how to get it working here. Other than that, not much else to share here. Raining like crazy here in Sydney, and cool, wet night. So good night to stay home and play radio. VK2DY, back to the net. Thank you very much.
VK2AOR.
VK2 AOR, VK2 NMZ. I'm guessing you had a question about those birds. I think maybe. Over to you, mate.
Roger, Bob. Brad, sorry. We can't access that satellite here. It was put up by the country of Qatar, and I think it's designated Quebec or Quebec Oscar -100, and it's a geostationary satellite which has television links up and down and a whole swag of other transponders, etc. So probably look on AMSAT UK would be the best place to find information about that. It's just out of our range, and I think the US is excluded from the range of that as well. So not particularly, we're not able to access it. So haven't really investigated it too much further. But it is a geostationary satellite, and Qatar spent $400 million putting it up there. So Europe is very lucky in the amateur circles. VK2 NMZ, VK2 AOR.
VK2 AOR, VK2 NMZ. So Bob, thank you so much for that information, and as we all know, Bob, you are an absolute satellite guru. Anything to do with birds flying around in orbit, you are an absolute wealth of information, and that's absolutely great. So the station there, I hope you're frantically writing that down. If not, I'm going, as much as I was able to go through and listen to, is I'm going to go off and paste that into the Echolink chat. But if you did wish to go back to it, so you can go off and you can check back on this on this net later on the Facebook page, and you can refer back to it. So yeah, again there, Bob, thank you so much. That's absolutely amazing there. And now I've lost my place in the queue. I think I was, where was I? Okay, so we're going to disconnect in 10. The dewdropping is going to disconnect in 10 minutes, so we'll get through this final round. Where is it? Robert VK2DY, I just called you in before. So we'll go to Kilo Delta 8 November Quebec Mike. I think that's who I was chatting to. Sorry, VK2 NMZ. Okay, it looks like Bill has gone through and left for the evening, so that's all good. I would wanted to go through and say thank you very much, Bill, for going through and swinging by this evening. We'll head back there to where the next person in the list that we've got there is John, VK3HJQ, VK2 NMZ. Anything else you wanted to drop in there, John?
VK Alpha Lima Echo. Hey, Brad. Again from the Gateway HJ2 near the station check in there. Yeah, no, in 10 minutes we'll disconnect from the drop in. We'll stay here with your net because those guys have got the cowbunga net starting. And Brad, I just sent you a copy of the conference control software and also all the bridge commands as well. Two separate emails. I hope your email's good on QRZ. If it's not, well, I don't know where it's gone. Anyway, good night to everybody. Stay safe and 7-3 to all. Back to you, Brad. VK2NMZ and VK2HJQ.
VK2HJQ and VK2NMZ. Now, John, thank you very much for that. I will go through and I will jump into my emails afterwards and go through and check that out. Alrighty, so we've got here Robert Kilo Alpha Zero Uniform Charlie Yankee Charlie Uniform if you are still around there. This is VK2 NMZ. Over to you.
Thank you, folks, for the info on that satellite. I was curious about. Now I know where it's at. I barely caught a glimpse of it when I was listening on the Houston AMSAT net over on the AMSAT server on Tuesday nights. So if anybody's interested, it's a good time. I think 7 or 8 p.m. Central Time on that. Central U.S. I'm sorry. Zero YCU returning. And thank you very much, folks.
KA0YCU VK2 NMZ. Well, thank you for taking the time to come through and drop in for the evening, and it's early morning over there, and you're coming through into our net, and I absolutely love that. So thank you. All right, let's head over there to KK4ZVE. This is VK2 NMZ. While you're around for a few more minutes before your conference server gets disconnected, over to you.
Well, good morning to everybody. It's been a very interesting conversation. I've enjoyed it very much, and especially enjoy listening to the discussions about radios. I've been looking at getting an SDR radio and waterfall display. I went over to another ham shack and was looking at it, and boy, that makes it so much easier to navigate the bands when they're in as bad a condition as they are. With that, I'll say good evening to all, and 73.
Two Alpha Lima Echo.
Acknowledging their VK2 ALE. Okay, so Kilo 4 Zulu Victor Echo. So thank you again for dropping by and early hours in the morning, and you go off and you drop into our net. I absolutely love it. Okay, so now we have, and by all means we are back again tomorrow, and also as another one is we do run a morning tea net, and you are welcome to drop in by that if you wanted to quickly say hello, and that's at 10 a.m. each day. Okay, we are at the very bottom of our. We have one more check-in from our Echolink conference list, and then we'll head over to our local repeaters again. So we have KB9 November Sierra Kilo. This is VK2 NMZ. You're our last one for the evening. Over to you.
Yes, you were talking to me, KB9, and I just want to say hello, guys, and I hope you were talking about me still. I hope I ain't dumping nobody there. So, 7 speed from KB9 NSK.
A KB9 NSK, a VK2 NMZ. Now, Russell, yes, we absolutely did come through and call you in, and just wanted to go through and say hello and good evening or good morning for yourself. And thank you very much for going through and dropping in. Okay, now the do drop in has been time muted again due to a link causing the problem. When sorted, disconnect and reconnect to remove the mute. Okay, that's an admin bot, so that's not my problem. So do apologize. So if you are connected to the do drop in server, I'm sorry you have been muted. All right, so now I will just do I'm just going to go through and do a very quick swing by the media of socials, as that has actually come through and been quite busy tonight. And we have gone through and had a number of people who have dropped in to go through and say hello. And I would like to go off and acknowledge. I can see we got acknowledged there Ray VK2AX. There was Alan VK4NA, and there was also Mike of VK5ZMI. So good evening there. Good evening there, Mike. And okay, Colin, don't worry about calling me back in, mate. No worries. I've got that. And also, Colin, your audio is absolutely fine as well. So thank you to everybody that did go through and check in there. I absolutely loved it. Now we also did have we've actually got one more Echolink station. I'm sorry, just because these folks here are remote, as I am taking priority out to these guys. So we do have Ron VK2TRL, who is sitting on the conference server at the moment quietly. So Ron, I'm going to go through and call you in. Good evening there, and welcome along to the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club 2 Meter Net. I can see that you have been sitting in there for quite some time. So over to you.
Yeah, good evening to everybody. This is VK2TRL Ron, located here on Albury, right on the VK2 border, and not too far from John, the HKQ. Yeah, first time on the net tonight. Only heard about this net about a week or so ago. So yeah, just thought I'd call in and say a quick evening. It'll be my one and only if I can. I've just got a couple of things to do for the rest of the night, but and if you can just confirm for me that the net starts at 8 p.m. Back over to you, net control.
VK2TRL, VK2NMZ, Ron, located in Albury. So I quite like Albury. It's my partner was at the university there, and I just remember doing lots of times going up and down Dean Street, and maybe a few time trials up the mountain to where the memorial is. That was years ago. So yes, you are absolutely correct. This net is on a Thursday night, or every Thursday evening, starting at 8 p.m. on Echolink, and also streamed over the Book of Faces as well. So I did. While we do have our ham conference server connected, it's only going to be disconnected in a couple of minutes, and this is also the do drop inside. I did want to go through and make a very quick call out to all of the stations who have come in via the ham conference server and also via the Echolink. So via the do drop in conference server, it is absolutely incredible to go through and see you all come through and drop into a net and a club that is so far away from you. I absolutely love it, and it just shows. It just shows the reach. It's great. All right, let's go through and let's head over there to our local 2 meter repeater. We have VK2ALE, VK2NMZ. Mate, hello there. Welcome along. Don't think we've chatted before.
VK2 Alpha Lima Echo. Been listening for a little while, and I was hoping to catch up with VK2 Alpha Lima Romeo, who gave me an email address. I think it was last night or the night before, and I don't seem to be able to get through on it. He seems to tell me that it doesn't exist. So anyway, that's no major drama. I've been trying to contact VK2KFU. Haven't spoken to him in over 20 odd years, and that's what I'm looking for at this stage. Apart from sandbagging on the net, it's always worthwhile listening to a whole stack of others. So back to you, VK2 Alpha Lima Echo in Matraville, down near Maroubra.
Okay, VK2 ALE, VK2 NMZ. So that's something we may be able to go through and help you out with. If you wanted to go through and I was going to go through and say is if you just wanted to flick me a quick email of vice-president at ccarc.org.au, and we should be able to go through and help you out with that one, with that request there. And Dave VK2KFU, he's absolutely, he's a great guy. He's an absolute wealth of knowledge, and yeah, well, it's been a little while since I did hear him on the radio a few days ago. So yeah, it's all good there. If you flick me an email, we'll go through and we'll sort, and we should be able to go off and help you out there. Was there anything else there that you wanted to go through and add there before I move down the list?
Thanks. That's probably fine. I wasn't quite prepared to take down that email address. I did hear something about president in the middle of there, and something.org, but I missed out the rest of it. If you could just repeat that one.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So Vice, so VICE dash president at ccarc.org.au. So vice-president at ccarc.org.au. If you flick me a message there, and we'll be able to go through and help you out with your request there. So that's something I should be able to go off and do. Alrighties. Okay, if there wasn't much else there to add there, I'll move it over there to Bob. VK2 AOR, VK2 NMZ for the, what are we now? We're on the third round, I think it was now. Yeah, third round. All right, let's do this. Over to you, mate.
Yeah, VK2NMZ, VK2AOR. Yeah, it was I think, Tony, that was talking to you, VK2 Alpha Oscar Romeo. My speech is often misconstrued as Alpha Lima Radio, but anyway, I sent Dave a message, an SMS, to say that you were looking for him, and he sent back a message saying that maybe he'd contact you on email. So I did ask him if he wanted me to give you his phone number, but he's declined that at this stage, so I'm not sure where we go from here, but I can send Dave an SMS and say you're still looking for him. So thanks for that, Tony, and if I can be of more help, then Brad might give you my email address rather than bog down the process at this stage. Anyway, back to you, Brad. Thanks for running the net. VK2 NMZ, VK2 AOR.
VK2 AOR, VK2 NMZ. So that's fine, and yeah, there is something basically there's something that our club goes through and does offer their members, but I'll chat to you offline, just also because I won't go through and broadcast it over the air, but all is good, and I think that's one of the great things about amateur radio and the hobby or the service that it can go through and offer is the ability of being able to go through and connect and reconnect with people that you may not have spoken to for quite some time. It's absolutely fantastic. All right, let's go up to Bob 2, VK2 NRC, VK2 NMZ.
VK2 MNZ, VK2 NRC, and the group. Just trying to figure out what's the best thing to do. It looks like it's going to keep raining here for a while. I was thinking about doing a couple of satellites, but the way the rain's coming down here, I thought it means us all get very, very wet. But yeah, what else was I going to say? I forgot his call, but he was having trouble with a compression fitting or something like that, compression plug or something like that. He may be missing a spacer. I know there's a few that they also have like a little stainless steel ring spacer, and if it's not crashing down on the olive, that may be the reason why. Anyway, without knowing brands or whatever, but I know I had that trouble with one that I got from Trash and Treasure, and it didn't have everything there, but then sorted it out a bit later on. Anyway, I'll put it back to you, Brett. VK2 MNZ, VK2 NRC.
VK2 NRC, VK2 NMZ, and that was actually one thing that I was thinking, Bob, is if it was if it is the end connector where you go through and you screw down with a compression fitting, is that usually comes with about 5 pieces, which is you have the main body of the end connector, the center pin. You also have the metal olive bush. There's usually a rubber spacer, or that's usually used for the compression side of things, and then a washer, and then the base at the bottom, which you go through and screw in. I do have quite a few of those connectors sitting in a tub in the garage, but I'm not in a position to go through and get one. But I'm sure myself and Ray will go through and have a chat later on. And it's a definite shame about the rain side of things, but hopefully that goes off, and that can go off and back off a little bit, and gives you an opportunity to get outside. I think I would absolutely love to be able to have a rotator with a couple of 2 and 70 centimeter small Yagis on there pointing in the sky, set up with SAT PC32 like a certain somebody. Hi. Oh, dearie me. So that's all good there, Bob. Thank you so much again for dropping by, and your presence here is always welcomed, and it's always amazing to have you here. So let's head down there to Max, VK2 XOR, VK2 NMZ. Hey, you're up next.
Yeah, VK2 NMZ in the group, VK2 XOR returning. I'll have to make this my final, everyone. Thanks for running the net, Brad. It's been nice to listen in again, albeit half an hour late after the start. Hope everyone continues to be well, and always interesting to see people joining in from afar as well. Yeah, as I said, anyone who wants to help me out by chatting to me about some antenna options for the backyard would be much appreciated. Not much more that I can think of at the moment. I'm out of action on D-Star, and haven't been turning on DMR or anything much really lately, just because I've been in too many meetings to really leave a radio on in the background. Anyway, working on that though. Need to get a bit of work-life balance back together. VK2 NMZ and the group, have yourselves a good night. VK2 XOR.
VK2 XOR, VK2 NMZ. So Max, yeah, that's all good there. I think that there's a picture that I've seen where there's one where somebody's gone through and asked, what antenna I can use, and it's you should build a dipole, and the response back is that the property isn't big enough, so they end up getting a chair thrown at them saying buy a bigger property. I'll find that and send that to you. So that, mate, I'm exactly the same. I have meetingful days, but what's been, and because I can't really have the radio up on all day, much like yourself, is I do have a little screen here in front of me which just goes off and monitors the talk groups that I'm connected to, which has been quite handy at times. So I'm not sure if it's going to go through and show up, or if it's going to show up reversed. I don't quite know yet. But for those looking in the Book of Faces, there is currently a Nextian screen which is being shown up on the feed. And basically what this does is that this integrates with the Raspberry Pi and Pi Star, and if there's any active talking at all, it goes off and it shows up on the screen. It's quite handy. Alrighties, okay, let's head down the list there. So we are on the final list. Mark VK2MAS had disappeared, but I will just go through and call him in just for a very quick sanity check. So we'll just go off and just make sure. So VK2MAS, VK2NMZ. Are you still about there, mate?
VK2RAG, Summersby.
Alrighty, all is quiet there, Mark. Well, thank you, Mark, for dropping in. I've just put a little asterisk next to your name, so I know that you've gone for the evening. I'll head over there to Ray, VK2HJW, VK2NMZ.
VK2NMZ in the group VK2HJW. Oh, look, thanks, Bob, and both you and Bob, Brad, for the help with the plug. But I will say I bought 3 of them. All 3 of them are exactly the same. They are only 2 pieces, and I did send you some pictures, but let's not get bogged down with that. One other thing I will add, someone mentioned about an app earlier on, but I came across an app this week that it sort of was quite interesting, and you know how we use our grid square locators to pin it down where we are. It's a great idea. But there's another one called What 3 Words I came across, and it's an app on your phone that it takes your GPS coordinates and converts it into 3 words, 3 English words that you can then send to other people, and they can type those 3 words in and see exactly your location. And emergency services are now using it, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. It's a lot easier than using GPS coordinates. Are they in degree or radians or whatever? And they found that the emergency services were finding that they were being put miles out by people giving inaccurate GPS positioning. So if anyone's interested, it's quite an interesting app to look at. I thought it was quite fun. I've got nothing else to add, but it's been a long net tonight. It's a good group, a massive group tonight. You've been really busy, Brad, and you're still talking. You're doing okay. So thanks a lot for running it, and I'll pass it back to you. VK2NMZ, VK2HJW.
VK2HJW, VK2NMZ. So thank you very much for that, Ray. And I can see your I'm just looking at your plug now. That's quite different. That is a very, very different plug. And I think what I'm going to go through and do there is I will. Okay, that's quite unique. I'm actually going, just for a bit of interest, I'll get these and I'll put these up on the club Facebook page to see if anybody can go through and identify these plugs and to see how it goes through and works. But as a guess, I'd possibly say the solid piece at the very end of the plug, you've possibly got the outer braid probably folds over that, maybe. We'll leave that up for the greater people. So Ray, thank you very much for all that information and your insight there tonight. And so I'll get those pictures published out as well for people to go through and view. Okay, Ryan has gone through and left. We're up to Alan. VK2MG, VK2NMZ.
VK2NMZ and the group VK2MG trying very hard to stay awake. It's been a long week. I'll make it short here and just say good night, everybody, and all the very best. I've just about had it. What keeps me going is the smell of freshly baked banana bread in the kitchen, so I'm looking forward to another bit of that if I can nick one. VK2, one thing I do want to ask you, Brad, before I do that, I just had a look on the Facebook there where you showed the Nexium up. What colour's your background screen on that, mate?
A VK2MG, VK2NMZ. Well, the color on that background screen is blue. So it is currently in an idle state at the moment, and it's the template that I'm using is blue. And at the moment, the Nexium screen comes through and shows up my allocated frequency, the CPU temperature. For some reason, the CPU load and the cycles doesn't go through and work. It gives me my IP address and it gives me a time. So if I go through and I key up a station, depending on what mode I'm in, the screen will come through and brighten up and show the talk group I'm connected to, as well as the current person that's going off and chatting. So I'm happy to go through and send you some pics of that later as well, Alan. So thank you very much there, Alan. All right, let's head over there to VK2ALM, VK2NMZ for the third and final round. Okay, VK2ALM has gone off for the evening, so 7-3 there. Thank you for that. Okay, so we're at the very end of the list for the 2 meter repeaters. Were there any other stations via the VK2 RAG 2 meter repeater that did wish to go through and check in this evening? Please go ahead. All's is quiet. Okay, so we're all out now. We've got out of our CCARCNSW Echolink stations, we had VK2JI Ed, who has disappeared and left for the evening. Now, for those that are still watching, Ed VK2JI is actually over in Munich in Germany, and he takes the time out most weeks to come to drop in and say hello, which I absolutely love. We got VK2FNEL Bill. Colin VK5CJM, who said his hello goodbyes. There was Ron VK2TRL down in Albury, and that was it. That was a hello goodbye, as he had a few things to go off and run off and do. All right, so we're at the bottom of the Echolink station there. Were there any other Echolink stations that did wish to, whether it be via the VK2 RAG-R node or the CCARCNSW conference server that did wish to go through and check in this evening? Could you please go ahead? Okie dokies. All's is quiet there as well. All right, let's head on down to the ham conference server. So we have K80YCU. He was connected by the do drop in. So I'm going to go through and just go for the ones that I know that are coming via the ham conference server. So I'll go to Robert VK2DY and VK2NMZ if you're still hanging around. Okie dokies, it looks like Robert has gone as well. Okay, so and the other station, well, we got John here, VK3HJQ, but you were busy doing things, so that's all good, and we'll chat offline. So I think John, I went off and put an asterisk next to yourself that you're heading off, but I can call you back in again just because that's me. VK3HJQ, VK2NMZ. Mate, over to you for the third and final round.
Yeah, thanks, Brad from VK3HJQ. Yeah, no, I disconnected to do a drop in because they got the Cowabunga net started about 11 minutes ago. Yeah, no, Robert's still connected there, and plus the other 7 or 8 conferences that we have, and 4 All-Star connections, and an IRLP connection as well, so lots of people here, but it's a bit early in the morning in the States. It's about 6:30 or 7:30 in the morning over there, so they're just getting up. Yeah, not much else to add. Thanks for running the net, and yeah, have a look at those emails if you've got any questions. Just send us an email. All right, chatting through to all. As I said before, I'm just watching, I don't know what I'm watching on TV. I've been swapping channels, trying to find something decent to watch for them. Oh, The Bourne Legacy, so Jason Bourne. I think I've seen them all about 100 times anyway. There you go. Thanks, Brad, and have a good evening over there. From VK3HJQ.
VK3HJQ, VK2NMZ. So, John, I have just gone off and flicked your mail just with those connectors as well. So you can go through and check those and go off and check those out as well. Okay, so from here now, my Book of Faces feed is going through and is mucking up a little bit. So my ability of being able to view latest comments isn't quite there yet, so I don't know what's going on with that. Whenever I leave a comment, it drops out. So a very quick rundown just for some of our folks who are watching on social media. We had JVK2FOMG. There was Adrian, who's a local Central Coastian who drops in every week to go through and say hello. So Adrian, that's incredible to drop by. We also had Ken VK2, so VK4 AKH. Now Ken Hargraves, he's an incredible guy, and he had a few things going on this evening, so he wasn't able to go through and chat. But that's all good. The coming through and dropping by and saying hello is great. Al B, our local listener. So Al, that's great that you're coming in and consistently. And Al has been coming through most weeks, which is amazing. We have Ryan VK2FRTS, who's not only checked in locally, but also checked in via social media and Echolink. Well, you got the trifecta there, mate. Oh dear, so that's great. We had Nathan VK2NAB, who did come through and drop in just to say hello via social media as well. We had Ray VK2AX, Alan VK4. And there was also Mike VK5ZMI who had gone off and dropped in, and there was also Miles VK2 Alpha Sierra Sierra. All right, so now from here, I'm just going to wrap this up, and I'm just going to drop this and rekey in a moment.
Hey Brad, quick question.
VK3HJQ, John, yes, mate.
Yeah, that's a standard compression fitting. There should be another piece that goes inside, and then a centre pin. So the centre pin will either be soldered or crimped, and then there's another. I think there's another 2 fittings that go inside, and then you fold the braid back over this little silver piece, and then you screw the whole lot together. It's basically a compression fitting. I used to sell them 20 years ago. I don't know how we managed to have one of those.
Yeah, and John, that's exactly what I went through and thought. So I'm going to go off and so Ray, you may need to possibly open up inside that connection. You'll probably find a little rubber bung, and then behind that rubber bung, you may find a little olive bush or something that you may need to go off and pull out. But after this net finishes, I'll go into my garage and pull out one of my compression fittings that I've got sitting in there and do a side-by-side comparison. All right. We are at the very bottom of the list for everything. Were there any other final check-ins at all, whether that be via Echolink or the local 2-meter repeater, that would like to check into this 2-meter net before I close it off? Please go ahead now. Okay, it has been, we have had no one else drop by. So This is Brad, VK2NMZ for the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club. Now, I'm going to be closing this net off at 9:45 p.m. and I did wish to go through and say thank you to everybody that did take the time to come out. And we'll go through and we'll catch you all next week. That's all, folks. Good night.